You've reached the age where the people around you are starting to give up on themselves because they think it's too late. Do not let their energy rub off on you. This moment is critical. You must push through, and I will teach you how to find a career that you love in this video today. My name is Jun Yu. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Let's face it, our careers are where we spend the most of our time. So of course, we should find one that will provide us the financial stability, but also the enjoyment that we're looking for on a daily basis. And I promise you, it is possible because I am a living proof of it. Is there luck involved? Absolutely. But is there an ability for you to cultivate a path that has a higher likelihood of you attaining this success? Absolutely as well. And that's what we're going to dive into. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, and of course, subscribe. With that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy this video. Number one, focus on the task. For a second, forget the job title and forget the company's name. What is it that you're actually going to be doing in this role? And this is why internships are really beneficial, because of the fact that you get real experience in it. This, I can speak from my own personal experience. I had internships and had worked with companies like Novartis, had worked with GlaxoSmithKline and West Pharmaceutical Services, and trust me, their job title might have looked really impressive, but there are the nuances involved in regards to the daily activities that I wasn't necessarily aware of. But it's only when I got the experience that I started to understand exactly what I liked and what I didn't like. Now, I was given the opportunity to do those internships or those partnerships, so in that case, I actually had that role, and you might not get that opportunity in your current situation, but that does not mean the research stops there. You should absolutely look for people on LinkedIn. You should look for people within your close circle and ask individuals that have the role what it actually looks like on a day-to-day basis. Do not be afraid to ask that question, because you might find that actually a position that has a job title that you might have never actually had interest in does things that you really enjoy, right? And that's how you're going to get fulfillment out of your job. It's not necessarily the title. It's not necessarily the company's name. Yes, are there prestigious aspects to it involved, and can that make you feel better? Absolutely. But who cares if Monday through Friday you're doing something that you hate, right? And there's of course flexibility associated with that. So not only the daily activities, but the actual environment. Are you somebody that wants a job that's partially remote? That's an environment that you could potentially look for. Are there aspects to the team dynamics that you might have a better interest for? Those are the only things that you can find after you conduct thorough research and speak to those individuals, and maybe even get the experience yourself doing it. So focus on the task, forget the job title. In some cases, you could forget the company's name too. Number two, imagine your ideal self in 10 years from now. I don't mean that this needs to be all that specific, but likely when you were young, you had a dream of a position that you would love to have had, right? So when I was younger, actually my very first one was a Power Ranger. I wanted to be the Red Power Ranger, and that is in my preschool kindergarten books. But when I got older, I've always wanted to own my own businesses. I didn't know what that necessarily looked like, but I imagined my own office. I imagined a view of the city. I imagined being able to stand in front of the window and feel cool. Like, those are things that I've always dreamt of, right? Now I'm in that position where I can do those things in different ways that I could have never really thought would be possible at the age of 24, but I constantly envisioned it, right? I constantly thought to myself, okay, in 10 years from now, this is what it'll look like. And then you can reverse engineer to figure out where you exactly need to be, right? Because sometimes you do need to sacrifice the current present moment so that you can build up the resume or the experience or the expertise necessary to do the thing you ultimately want to do in 10 years from now. But you will have no clarity on it if you don't think about it in that way, right? So many people are often reluctant to sacrifice in the current moment, right? They want to apply for the most competitive positions right at the get-go. They fail 10 times and they're thinking, yeah, actually this job isn't for me. I'm gonna feel pity for myself, and I understand that it is really hard, but I truly believe that's the way that you should do it, right? Think long-term. You likely have something that you've always wanted to be or do, and it doesn't have to be that exact position, but having that ability to build something now in the current moment to get to that place ultimately is really beneficial. Number three, play the numbers game. I could provide so many examples of wins from our discipline mentorship that speaks to this, but I will highlight one individual named Priscilla. Priscilla was in a position where she didn't have the job that she was looking for. It wasn't necessarily aligned to the career of her choice. And actually, in fact, she had multiple part-time jobs to be able to pay for the expenses that she had. She had then joined me for a mentorship call, and in that call, she had told me exactly what she had wanted. She told me that she wanted to be a data analyst, and that's what she was studying to do. However, she felt like she lacked the experience to find a position in that field in the current spot that she was in. I highly doubted that. I understood that likely there were projects that we could leverage on a resume, that there were certain experiences that she didn't necessarily think was involved with this position that she wanted, but could actually highlight some of those core attributes to her that could be attractive to a company. So what we had done first was enhance her resume, and then we initiated the numbers game. The numbers game is predicated on the fact that there are a lot of underqualified people in positions that you likely dream of having. I know that might sound cynical, but trust me, I've now seen these types of individuals, and I think to myself all the time, I can't believe I had limited myself in my belief that I thought that I couldn't do that job, but people that are doing that job have less qualifications than I even had, right? And that happens in so many fields, right? There are a lot of people in positions that you would dream of having because they had the guts, they had the bravery, or maybe even just the naivety to apply anyways, right? Or to seek through their networking and connections and to actually find that job for yourself. I know in your position, you wanna wait. You wanna wait till you have the perfectly crafted resume. You wanna have it so you have all the different experiences lined up for yourself. But I actually need you to take a leap of faith and trust me when I say that if you apply to 100 jobs, you will find just one at least that are going to take you in, no matter what field. I've done this over and over and over again, and it's worked every single time. But the numbers game requires you to not be afraid of failure, not be afraid of rejections. And so I'm going to read you Priscilla's post that she posted in our Discord chat that outlines exactly what I mean, but she has said it even better than I could have. 2 months, 45 job applications, 13 rejections, 30 no answers, aka ghosting, 2 interview processes, 1 interview process rejection, and 1 offer. She's quoted me saying this many times throughout the community. On a numbers game, you only need 1 opportunity. I got a job, guys, as a junior data analyst at Uber. This is the numbers game, and this is the practical solution for you to get the job that you love. And here's even a quick template on an Excel sheet that you can use to do the exact same thing. In the first column, I want you to title it company name. In the second column, I want you to title it to be job title. And in the third column, I want you to title it to be daily activities. In the fourth column, I want you to title it preference 1 through 5. And then in the 6th column, I want you to write notes. Now you have the perfect template to keep track of all the different job opportunities that you find. These would be entries of rows, and every single time you go on LinkedIn, you find a job that you might like, or in your personal circle that you want to continue networking through, whatever it may be, as you highlight the different job opportunities and you get to 50, 60, 70, 80, and in the notes, you can keep track of the status, right? So maybe you applied, maybe you got an interview, maybe you got rejected or ghosted. Keep track of it this way. By the time that you get to 101 rows, because the title will be the first row, you would have found a job that you actually enjoyed. I have seen this over and over and over and over and over and over again, and I know that you can do it too. Number 4, invest in you. Right now, you likely already have a full-time responsibility, whether you are a student or whether you are a working professional and you're looking for this job on the outskirts of that. It's so important that on the other blocks of time that you have throughout the day, that you are learning a new skill, that you are actually cultivating the skill sets needed to find that job that you ultimately want. And I have such a great example of this. We know content creation now to be the high value skill in the information age. We know that everyone wants to do it nowadays. But when you think about 5 years ago, when I first started to post on Instagram and started to post on TikTok, in my head, there wasn't necessarily this clear vision that this was the skill. I just saw the fact that likely if I get good at this thing, maybe it will build into something else in the future. So it wasn't that I had this perfect clarity or this epiphany moment that was thinking to myself, yes, this is it. I know if I do this, then I will have my own business. I will have a global company. I'll be able to generate over 7 figures. Like, I never thought about it that way at all. All I knew was I needed to build this skill because I thought it could be leveraged for a future opportunity in general. Once I did that, and I did it the right way because I posted every single day for the last 5 years, I haven't missed a single day. And it's through that work, now that I combine it with the other skills I learned in my academics, that actually led into what it is today, right? It led me to combine passions of business and education information as I created different study tools for all of you. It allowed me to invest in one of the biggest ventures for myself this past year, a different educational tool in a different field that I can release very, very soon. There's also thoughts in regards to me being the Red Bull Basement World Final Judge that I can't even believe has happened, but that is also stemmed from the fact that I learned a lot about marketing. I learned a lot about scalability and growth through the fact that I actually built out the skill of content creation. I leveraged it to try and learn different skills as well, like marketing specifically. So I just want you to be aware that yes, you have these daily responsibilities and you don't have to allocate hours and hours every single week. No, just spend 15 minutes a day working on a skill for long enough, and I guarantee you'll get good enough for it. And then eventually you can leverage it to either pivot into a completely new industry or to use it to supplement your current industry that you're headed in. Build skills outside of your current responsibility. It will be well worth it, and that's how you invest into yourself. And number 5, experiment and explore. In parentheses, do not be afraid to work for free. We can even use the example that I just outlined in the previous point. With content creation, the first 3.5 years was basically working for free. And I did that because I wanted to develop the skill, right? I knew the work that it took, and I didn't want to distract myself in terms of building out a product or building out a service just yet, right? Because I was also very realistic about my situation as a student. Did I need the money? Would it have been nice? Sure, but did I need it? Not necessarily, right? I was already working other jobs and I could fund my academics. I could fund the things that I needed on a daily basis regarding my expenses. But this content creation, I really wanted to dive into as a skill in an honest way. And that had done wonders for me, but it's the exact same thing as I was doing for biomedical engineering, working in certain labs or working on certain projects entirely for free, because I knew the return that it could give me in regards to the experience and understanding my likes and dislikes, but also building out my skills was going to be way more valuable than $15 an hour or whatever hourly wage. And that's what I really want to emphasize. If there are certain projects out there that you can see and you want to be able to partake in, do not be afraid to play the numbers game. Do not be afraid to reach out, and do not be afraid to work for free. Again, these experiences and the knowledge and the skills that you build will be immensely helpful down the line. If you can leverage it for a paid position, even better. But do not just lose that position and think that the value of the hourly wage in your current position is going to outweigh the return that you'll get in that development. Obviously, this is dependent on your situation, but from my personal experience, I know that I was working a job and making money, getting both my bachelor's and master's in biomedical engineering and pursuing a high value skill on the side all at the same time. It is possible, but it's just up to you to put in that work. With that being said, that wraps up the 5 points that I wanted to cover in regards to how to find a career that you love. I really hope that you take this seriously because, again, I understand it may be overwhelming, but hopefully you can take these points one at a time and realize that it's actually not that complex. It is difficult, don't get me wrong, but it should be, right? Because hopefully the dividends that it pays off in the future after you find something that on a daily basis you can wake up to and be happy about is really, really valuable. I love you guys so much, and until next time, please take care of yourselves. I love you guys so much, and I will see you all at the top.